Whether you've been married 20 plus years, at some point you realized you were married into crazy.
And that's what our podcast is all about. We offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as we unpack this crazy thing called marriage.
So sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
All right, let's go.
Welcome to episode 97 of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. I'm Lovey.
This is Snooks.
Why do you make those weird sounds before every single podcast?
Stop sound shaming me.
Okay, so if you want to know what I'm talking about, you're going to have to go to our YouTube channel.
You know what? Here's the thing. Everyone has their own thing of what they do to get ready, right?
True.
Your thing is bossing me around.
That's all day.
Mine is making that noise. I'm getting ready.
Getting yourself in the mood. That's like you're getting psyched up.
Oh, so you're getting psyched up is when you boss me around and tell me what to do?
That gives me life.
Okay.
That gives me life.
You heard it right here, ladies and gentlemen. It gives them life to be bossy.
You know what? Would you expect anything less?
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, I don't want you to. You know what? I want you to have the world. I do not want you to settle for less. That's why I would give you no less than the ultimate of bossiness.
Oh, okay.
Coming from you. You deserve all that and then some. All that and then some.
I could be a dig. I could take that in so many kind of ways. Like.
All right. So, okay. Episode 97.
97.
So we've been here for a minute doing this, and we want to thank all of our listeners that have been with us for a while. Welcome back.
Welcome.
And for those of you that are new to listening to the podcast, we want to welcome you to the podcast.
Welcome.
So if you don't know, now you know.
Get ready to say that.
So we've been married for almost 24 years. And she did not like me when we met and said I was a nerd, had no game, and yet 4 months later we were engaged. And she proposed to me.
Okay. See, I was going to let you just keep rolling with it, but you always got to do extra
Your
stuff.
eyes.
I don't know why.
Your eyes proposed to me.
Be extra.
Your
why
eyes.
do you like to be extra? Why?
Because you deserve
Even the
extra.
kids are like, oh, Mom. I'm like,
because you deserve extra.
I know.
She may not have actually verbalized her proposal to me.
Because I didn't.
Her eyes said it all.
Did not.
Her eyes, when she looked at me, she was like, she was big. If you want to know what we're talking about, you got to go to YouTube and look at the video.
That's what I did.
Yep, that's what you did. Your eyes were just like, it was those wanting eyes that said, please propose to me.
Why is it that you're extra? And that is like, that should be the topic of one of our podcasts with our kids. Because every single kid, all three of them, will say to me, Mom, why is Dad extra? I'm like, hey, I don't know. Or they'll look at me and they'll be like, that's your husband.
Okay, let me they do say that.
I'm like,
but let me tell you why I'm extra. Why? Because life is meant to be lived and it's fun. This is not a dress rehearsal. And you know what? I'm gonna put 10 on it. I'm gonna put 20 on it.
We know.
And I'm trying to figure out why it is 9 o'clock at night and my neighbor is outside mowing the lawn.
It's dark.
It is dark outside. There's nothing going on.
Now that's extra.
You won't talk about being extra.
Yeah, he's extra.
That is crazy. So I hope to goodness y'all can't hear the mowing that's going on because this dude,
I don't understand.
9 o'clock at night. Good Lord. Thank goodness I'm not like working graveyard shift and trying to get some sleep right now.
You hear me?
So what was the most exciting part of your weekend? Besides me being extra.
The most exciting part? Well, we had...
Sounds like he's running over rocks. This is crazy.
No.
So, okay, go.
Well, the whole weekend was great. Yesterday was Sunday, and we had, what is that, Sunday's Best?
Sunday's Best on BET.
Yeah, so the good thing is that we got to actually see it. This is the second time that we've seen it. Lovey does not believe in having...
it's a religion, y'all. Go ahead.
Cable or anything like that. It's fine. Even when we did have it, we didn't have the package that gave us BET, so I could never see the Sunday Best and all that good stuff that I like to watch. But
And it's not that I had anything against BET. I just had everything against that next level of, I didn't see the reason to pay that extra money for one channel that we wanted to see.
There was an extra, 100 channels just for the one that I really wanted. And the sales lady was really trying to talk us into getting it too. And he was like, hang that phone up. We ain't doing that. But, and we got to see Aisling. Yes.
Miss Aisling Cole. She made the top 10. It's a good friend of ours. She's a colleague when it comes to personal coaching. She's an amazing coach. But more than that, she's a truly amazing friend. When I got my diagnosis for bladder cancer initially, other than my wife, the first phone call after talking to Snooks was to Aisling because of her story and her journey and what she had actually gone through. And we prayed together, and she's an amazing, amazing, amazing friend, amazing person. Her soul just lights up the room.
Yeah.
And her voice.
And her voice. Yes.
$1 million voice.
Yes. Yes.
So you got to go to AishlingCole.com. That's ASHLINGCOLE.com. AishlingCole.com to pick up some of the gear so you can get on Team Aisling, because we ride in this thing. So I'm not going to explain to you how we bootlegged the cable so we could see BET.
No,
it wasn't bootleg. It wasn't bootleg.
It wasn't bootleg. It was actually pretty cool though. So like Lovey said, Aisling is part of BU, which Lovey's
Breathe University.
Part of, which vicariously I lived through. So the West Coast Accountability Team, actually, to show support, and to correct me if I'm saying any of this wrong, because I'm just trying to throw some
It's
stuff
like a
in
big
there.
family. We are a big family of accountability.
I said correct me, let me not
No,
get in.
My bad. My
I'm just
bad.
playing. No, so one of the guys, he
Don't
set
say
it
no
up
names.
to, I didn't say his name, set it up to where we could all, it was like a viewing party.
It's exactly what it was.
And it was really cool. It was really, really cool. So
It's so awesome, because what we end up doing is just kind of chilling and just everybody as a group, people from all over the nation are in this viewing party, and we just watch and support, and it's the bomb.
London was in the house.
We have folks from all over the world actually.
France in the house, or Paris? Or?
No, there was two from London. I'm not
two,
sure
okay.
if
Two from the UK. That's what I just know
two from the
that.
UK.
Okay.
There might have been another person from South Africa that may have been on. I'm not quite sure. I believe there's an individual that actually might have been. Marcus might have chimed in from Paris. I'm not sure if he got on or not, but it was just a blast.
Yeah, it was cool.
Really good time.
It was
Really
cool.
good time.
And I'm a big fan of gospel. I listen to gospel on the way to work. You know, I got to get my mind right when I'm not talking to Jesus or listening to a podcast or something. But I'm a big fan of gospel. And when I say they was singing, it's so funny because we were talking. My daughter Kiki said something to me once. She was like, "Mom, how come you don't go on those singing shows? You know how to sing." I said, "Yeah, I know how to sing. I can't sing though."
You can sing, girl.
I can sing. I can't sing. I ain't no singer.
You know, and it's funny. I think we're really harping on this because it's more than just about somebody's voice. It's more than just that, she was on TV and then she made the top 10. But the beautiful thing about Aisling is her spirit and the fact that she's, one of the elders on the show. But I will say this, that knowing her story, the trials, the tribulations that she's been through, at no point, well, I won't say at no point, you have to listen to her tell her story, but she didn't dwell on the challenges that she had faced. And I think that's why we're so excited, is because we know someone that didn't get stuck in the past, that didn't become a victim of the circumstances that surrounded her. And though those things have happened in her past, just like all of us, she chooses on a daily basis to move forward, to do something with the remainder, because the remainder of life is what matters. The things that have gone past, things that we can no longer change, unless you've got a time machine. If you do, hit me up. But
Right.
because I'll say, why would you go back in time? I would go back in time to make sure that I would see if I could break my record. I would get her to say yes to marrying me in 3 months instead of 4 months. But No, but it's one of those things where she focuses on going forward. And I think the challenge with so many of us, and this pertains to relationships as well, and we're going to get there. But I think what so many of us have a tendency to do is, oh, I shoulda, or I coulda, or I woulda. We really focus on the past. We think of those things that we should have done, or we could have done better. It's just like, oh, if I didn't eat that, whatchamacallit, or if I didn't eat, this, or if I didn't do that, or if I would have worked out more, or if I would have chosen this job, or if I would have gone to school, or if I would have done, all these things come up. And the sad thing about it is so many people not only think about those things, those missed opportunities or those things, but they live there still.
I'm a survivor of the I shoulda or I wish I would have in regards to my degree. For years and years and years, I harped on the fact that if anyone was to say, what would you do differently, or do you have any regrets? I make it a practice to always say I don't have any regrets. But I would always say I don't regret anything. But the one thing that I do regret, I did have one regret, and that was not finishing college earlier, or not, going through, just keep pushing it and just keep stay in school, as opposed to I started full-time college, and then when my mom moved, I wanted to stay in the Bay Area, so then I started working full-time, and I was going to school part-time in the evening, and that was kind of dangerous because my car broke down, so I was on public transportation on BART and stuff. And so eventually I was like, you know what, I got my whole life to go to school, I'm just gonna work. So I was working full-time, plus Bay Area ain't cheap, so and in hindsight, years and years and years later, I was like, dang, I should have stayed in school, because everyone around me, a lot of times we would be in mixed company, and Levy and his friends or whatever, and people would be like, oh, they went to this school, they went to that school, they went, and I'm like, oh, I didn't finish college, so I always felt some kind of way about it, and it was hard for me to get past. Why you laugh?
You say I felt some kind of way about it. Like, I feel some kind of way about our neighbor mowing his lawn at 9:15 at night. And I'm trying to figure out, why are you mowing your lawn? I'm sorry, I know, completely random, but I'm like,
gosh.
This fool.
It's okay. Let him do him.
So if y'all hear that lawnmower in the background, I apologize.
Stop curb appeal shaming.
No, but I hear you. I mean, it's go ahead, keep going, because I think it's important.
It was just something that I dwelled on a lot, and some stuff, like there would be positions that I was qualified for in every way, except for I did not have my degree. So I'm like, if I would have had, and then I'm in I'd be in the mood afterwards for a minute, kind of just soaking it in or whatever, that's just school. There are many things in our relationship where I dwelled on, like it was hard for me to move past, or still staying stuck,
So how do you move past that?
Well, for me, it was just, okay, I just need to okay. As far as like for the school thing, I'm like, okay, I just got to do it. I hate to be Nike and say just do it, but I just had to do it. I had to just say, I am going to finish school no matter what. And one thing I just like, okay, it has to be at the right time. It has to be the right opportunity. Levy is so irritated right now. I can't.
I think he's walking around the block just running the lawnmower. He's in front of our house. Fuck the damn lawnmower. I'm like, are you serious right now?
Cut it out. No one could probably even hear the lawnmower.
Oh my goodness.
And if they hear it, it's just a faint buzz.
That's crazy. So anyway, keep going forward. I apologize.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
You were talking about how you actually moved forward. So it was one of those things.
I said I hate to be Nike and just say just do it, but for me, I just kept thinking about it, and I kept thinking about it, and it had to be I had to get to the point where I felt worse about not having it than I felt good about. But how do I say this? I think the feelings that I had, I felt worse about not having it than I felt that I would feel about having it. Does that make sense?
I think so. Like you were putting more emphasis on what you didn't do versus what you would do.
Well, it's like I knew it would make me feel good to have it. Okay, I did it. I would have it, and I would be like, okay, it's done. But as good as that feeling would be, I felt worse about that I didn't have it.
That it was taking so long.
Or that, yeah. I hope I'm explaining it right.
It's funny you say that though, because I think that sometimes we place emphasis in the wrong areas. And I'm not saying you were wrong for doing that. I am saying you were wrong for doing that. But
Okay.
I think that but we're all guilty of it. Every single last one of us, because we get on the scale and we say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe where did these last 20 pounds come from?" Like it just happened. It didn't just happen.
That's true.
Then 20 pounds showed up over the course of the last 24 months. Little by little, and then we think, I should have ate this, or I was going to go on this diet, or I was going to do this, or I was going to drink more water, or I was going to go for those walks, or I was going to go join CrossFit, or all these different things that we were going to do. And we sit there and we stay and we place so much energy in that direction. But when we're shooting energy in the past, it does nothing for us because all of that is dead.
Well, it does something for us. It keeps us there because you think about it. I mean, and I'm guilty. I'm very transparent about, my, as far as my weight. I'll say, okay, I'm going to exercise or I'm going to eat right, and then I don't eat right, and so I'll get on the scale like you say, and I'm like, dang it, I should have blah blah blah, and then my mind is like, well, shoot, you already here now. I might as well go downstairs and make me some pancakes or something like that. A lot of times I think that's what we do. At that moment, I just kind of throw my hands up, and I'm just like, well, whatever. I'm already not where I want to be.
No,
so
that's dead on. I mean, and I know we talked about like schooling. We talked about weight loss or what have you, or getting a certain level of fitness. Happens in our finances as well. Oh, I should have saved more money. I should have done this, or I should have invested earlier, or I should have purchased a home. And we deal with that looking at becoming real estate investors, and we look at all these different things. But here's the point. The more we focus on the past, and this has been a common theme for some of the people that I've been coaching over the course of the last week, that things have transpired, negative or positive or what have you, that they're constantly reliving the things that have happened years ago. And it's reliving those things that have happened years ago that is not allowing them.
Stuck.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No, you're right. Keeps them stuck, or to the point where it's an anchor, and it's not allowing them to move forward because it's just so difficult to move forward in life because you're dragging this anchor that is stuck in the past.
Okay, so go ahead, finish.
Well, and I say that because those things in the past are dead. Meaning, I can't go back and I can't change, a transgression, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 30 years ago before we met. I can't go back and fix those things, or relive the glory days, because some people, it's not about the negative. It's about, ooh, you should have saw me when I was in high school, or you should have saw. I know people that have talked about, that continuously talk about the championship they won in 8th grade, because that was their moment of glory or what have you. And then don't get me wrong, those things are beautiful memories, but sometimes we use that as the measuring stick by which we're judging the rest of our lives, and we need to let that go. Same thing happens in our relationships. The things that we've done in the past, we think is stopping us from moving forward. Or you're holding somebody, the person that you're married to right now, you're holding them accountable for something that a previous boyfriend or a previous girlfriend had done to you or made you feel.
That baggage that they bring.
It's that baggage. But what's funny is that the people may not be dead, but that moment is dead. And what we have to get good at is burying the dead. We have to each bury the dead. And that doesn't mean that, look, when we've all lost loved ones, for the most part. Some of us have. If you haven't, God bless you. But those of us that have lost people that are close to us, you don't stop loving those individuals. You don't stop. Their importance doesn't dissipate. Their importance, the meaning of their life doesn't become less or dampened. But you have to bury them. You have to move on in the respect that there's still so much life to be lived. And in our relationships, we have to bury the dead, because if we drag our old relationships, the old baggage, like you said, from our previous engagements, previous relationships, previous conversations, previous arguments, all these different things, we can't truly live in the moment, and we can't prepare ourselves for the future.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because it's not even just about the previous relationships. We could carry the dead weight, or it could be something in our relationship that
Come on.
keeps us kind of stagnant or not moving forward. And so, just again, being transparent. So we've talked about this before, the relationship that I have with my mother-in-law. It was not a good relationship by my account, and there were times when something would happen and okay, we move forward or whatever, but I held on to what happened, and I stayed in that moment. Whenever it came to her, whenever it didn't matter about, I'll forget about it for a second, or doing something, but if you bring her name up, or if you bring, I would just be like, ooh, because I remember blah blah blah, whatever. And so I never really got to, I won't say we didn't move forward. We did move forward, but we didn't move forward like we could have, because it was, what is that, stick in the mud, it won't go nowhere, or something like that.
Right.
So I was very adamant about, no, I'm going to hold on to this, because I don't want to say it validated me, but it made me, my feelings feel, it gave me a reason to feel the way that I felt, like, okay.
Some justification.
Yeah, there you go. I was justified in, how I was feeling about whatever. So, and I think maybe people do that. I know plenty of people actually that do that with relationships with others. Something happened in the past and they can't get past it, and they can't move forward, and they keep bringing it. Could just be that one thing, and they'll keep bringing it up. And I remember when blah blah, and we'll talk about it. Okay, well, I'm good now. But as soon as that person looks sideways, or as soon as, well, because remember when right. So you can't. I'm like, but that happened before, and you said that you forgave them for whatever. I know, but it don't matter, because did they mean, and it kind of goes on, and it takes up a life of its own. So, and it's funny, because the past is dead. We can never get the past back. But the past is also not dead, really, because if you keep replaying that same thing over and over, you bring that thing to life. And so it's actually living. And it's what we do with that. That's the thing that keeps us, stuck and not being able to move forward. It's okay to remember something that happened in the past, because history is history. We learn from history, but when you let history just take over and consume bad parts of it, or even too many good parts, there has to be a balance of, what did you learn? What was good? What was bad, or whatever? Because there's ups and there's downs in everything. Nothing is ever just going to be all sunshine. Nothing is ever going to just always be doom and gloom,
I knew you were going to say doom and gloom.
I was trying to look for another word.
No, you're right, though, because the thing is, I've said this plenty of times in the past, and I'll continue to say in the future, so you're going to hear this a lot. When we're looking at this reference point of what's behind us versus what's forward, and we're moving forward, you have to be in the now, but it's like driving. You've got a windshield in front of you, right? And you should be looking out your windshield at the road ahead of you so you can navigate all the obstacles in front of you. That's life. Mm-hmm. That's us moving forward. But we also have a rearview mirror that's in the car. And the rearview mirror is meant to occasionally glance at it so we can see what happened behind us for reference points. Because every now and then you want to take a look and say, okay, Are there any vehicles that are coming up really fast? Somebody switching lanes real quick and bobbing and weaving through traffic? Should I be aware of stuff that's behind me that it's going to cause me to have difficulties going forward, or it's going to be a hazard? Same thing in life. We should glance at those things that were behind us, glance, to see if there are any hazards that have transpired in the past that are going to sneak up and cause us some harm or make us do things the wrong way. Somebody's approaching you really quickly and they're bobbing and weaving out of traffic. If they come up and try and you move over. You get out of that lane, you put yourself in a better position. But the challenge is it's a glance. What so many individuals have a tendency to do, like we're talking about right now, is
Let's focus on that rearview mirror.
amen, focus on that rearview mirror. And we're staring at the rearview mirror rather than glancing and then looking forward, refocusing on front.
Because what happens too, if I'm focusing on the rearview mirror, I'm eventually going to crash moving forward. So I'm so focused on what's behind me, I can't see what's in front of me. And if I can't see what's in front of me, I don't know where I'm going. And if I don't know where I'm going, I'm going to end up in a ditch. I could end up hitting a car, a pedestrian, whatever it is. That's, of course, the driving analogy. But if I'm not looking forward in my life, in my relationship, all I keep thinking about is how you did me wrong, or all you keep thinking about is what I didn't do. We're never going to be like to get that harmony that we say we want. What is it that we say that we want out of our relationships? I didn't get married to be in discord and to be fighting and fussing and all the time. I mean, I don't live under a rock to know that there will not be that there won't be disagreements, because Lovey and I, as much as we love each other, oh my goodness, love.
But she gets on my last nerve.
Ooh, can you say that to somebody else?
Oh, okay.
Please?
I'll say it to somebody else. She gets on my last nerve.
Because I'm like, if this man come in here and say one more thing to me, I promise you, I promise. But, we understand that we are not going to be whistling while we work all the time.
No, but
those are moments. I got married to the love of my life to spend the rest of my life being happy with him.
And I'm here to make it the best of her life.
That's right, baby. You do that.
Bossing her around.
Bossing, my favorite thing, bossing me around. But, we learn things we know that there are going to be some ups and some downs. But if I stay focused on the down, I will never get up.
That's true. And we're not saying don't learn from the past.
No, learn. Please learn.
You got to glance at what's behind you in order to learn about how to navigate what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's where, I don't know, that's where you have to be very proactive in taking the lessons learned and applying them to, or at least filing them away, so that way it's giving you an opportunity or a roadmap or something to ensure that when I meet this obstacle again, I can better navigate it next time around. Mm. So the past does have a place, but we don't sit there and hold seances with the past and say, okay, we're going to sit here and let's spend the next 20 minutes or 30 minutes thinking about that one time, and you go from there. That's why I'm not a big fan of like reunions. I've been to 2, maybe 3 reunions in the last 30-some odd years from high school.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, like from high school, because I love the guys I went to school with and the gals I went to our sister school, and I'm in touch with a good number of them. But I just know that when you, from experience, that when you go to these things, you laugh and you catch up, whatever. The conversation always turns back to, remember that time? And then there's that reminiscing of, the glory days or whatever. And it kind of puts you in a little bit of a funk, like, yeah, what happened? And then you start to really focus on, I don't know, for me, I don't know about everybody else, but for me, you spend so much time looking and living again in that moment, in the past, that energy. There's things where it's like, what? I got stuff I need to do now. And I want to be more focused on the now and where I can go and what I can do and what I can do to help other individuals than living in the past. And so I think that in our relationships, we've got to bury our dead. We've got to bury those things that need to be buried, basically, that need to be set aside, that need to be kind of 6 feet under. And then there's times where you can sit there and go, oh, you know what? There's going to be a memory. There's going to be something that's going to come up where you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that time. That was awesome. I have a huge picture in our living room of my mother. She passed in 2011. And though my mom is gone, there's so many lessons in life that I carry forward to this day. And I'm not going to lie, you have those moments. You'll smell something or hear a song or somebody will say a certain way. Or, Kiki can look a certain way at me and it reminds me of my mom. But it's just, and those are great moments. You love that, and that pulls on the heartstring. But I don't spend the rest of the day on that. It's a lesson, and it's like it inspires me to move forward, to do better, to make her proud. To do this. And so I think that when it comes to our past experiences, our past transgressions, our past challenges, our past triumphs, that you take a moment and you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, that's great. And how can I use that today? We've got to pivot to, how can I make my relationship better today? You know what? 10 years ago, we had an argument, and I'm not going to, I won't remember the argument, though Snooks remembers the argument,
No.
what I was wearing, what I ate that day, the whole 9 yards. But I don't remember all of that, but I will remember the outcome and what we did to either get a positive outcome or what I did to create a negative outcome. And I tried to ensure, like, ooh, I don't want to go down that path again.
I like how you said that. What we did to create a positive outcome, or what you did to create a negative outcome. I like that. Good way to own up.
Well, it's the truth, right? I mean, I'm just being honest. I mean, when it comes to a relationship, when it comes to any type of growth, no, but you're hitting on it. I didn't mean to say it that way, but that is the absolute truth, that you can't make me do anything. And I think sometimes in a relationship, we try and get individuals to change, to do certain things. But what you can do is have absolute 100% control over how you respond to a situation or how you do a certain thing. And you know that if you do something a certain way, that you'll elicit a specific response from me as well.
Right.
So I guess I said that I can't really focus on what I did for a negative outcome or I do focus on that because I want to make sure that I don't do it again. Because I only have control over what I did, what I contributed to that situation.
Right.
I don't dwell on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, and if I hadn't done that, life would be so much better, and blah, 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 blah. No, it's like, okay, you know what? I made that mistake that one time. I'll never do that again.
Right.
And so in a lot of ways, in this relationship, us being married almost 24 years, I can't tell you how many times I've had to bury the dead in our relationship. Those first 4 years, had to bury the dead.
Right.
We had to in order to move on. That was the only way we were going to move forward and get out of that situation where Snooks was demanding a divorce. I had to bury me. I had to become dead to my own self. I had to become the person that I was had to die and had to be buried. The person I was in the service definitely needed to be murdered and
He said murdered.
and buried, because that person was not.
So crazy.
There was nothing about that individual. I don't say nothing. There were some good parts, but there was a lot.
Don't say that.
There was a lot, though, that.
I think that kind of immaturity,
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. But it was one of those things that I think on a daily basis, we have to bury the dead. From a career standpoint, had to bury the dead and respect that. I had to bury the person that I was, 15 years ago, 17 years ago when I got into this industry. And, you have to grow. And the only way you can grow, it's just biology. If you think about it, we shed dead skin every single day. And the only way our dermis or the skin itself is actually going to continue to be healthy is by shedding the old. You have to shuck the old. That's why, a butterfly can't become a butterfly without shedding the old, the caterpillar skin. Snakes molt. They shed their skin in order to actually have that new skin and continue to move on.
But see, you say that those are things that are going to happen regardless. Those are things that don't take thought. It doesn't take emotion. For the snake skin is just going to shed. The butterfly, it doesn't know that. All it knows is that I got to get out, so I have to, It doesn't involve heartstrings and mind play, emotion. That's the hard part, I think.
I was just saying it's not conscious.
Right. Well, yeah, that's not. It's just something that innately happens with the snake. The snake has no control over it's shedding of the skin. It can't
Right.
say, I'm so attached to my skin, I'm not going to shed it. I'm, I'm going to keep it. But with in a relationship, when you start talking mind, heart, and soul, and the memory and the mind it will trigger the heart, because I'll think about something, my mind goes there, and then all of a sudden I get this reaction physically. My heart will start beating really faster. So we have to learn how to let our minds bury some of the dead stuff, or that's the hard part, because I have to consciously say I am moving away from this, or I am not going to whatever. I am going to bury the dead. I have to make a conscious decision, regardless of how hard it is to do. I have to make that decision. And I think that may be the thing that keeps people from burying the dead, or, keep them at the cemetery. They know they have to leave, but they can't let it go. So that's hard for some people to just, and in other people, it's like that skin, that
They just molt it. They just shed it.
I can't shed it. I can't let it go because it's so a part of me that I can't let it go now. I can't, how would I go on without? Because my purpose could be to be angry forever. So I have to consciously let that go. So now what am I going to do?
So they're wearing that shedded skin like it's a jacket.
It could be.
Like, oh, okay, it fell off. I got rid of it, but I'm going to wear it.
Yeah, I'm about to pick it up and I'm going to stitch it back together. And
I'm going to keep wearing
I'm
it.
keeping wearing it. I don't care how much new skin I got.
Lose the jacket, folks. Lose the jacket and bury your dead.
And as hard as, I'm sorry,
No.
and as hard as it is to do that, I can, like Lovey said, our first 4 years were, man, as hard as the first 3 years were, there was still, okay, we were still in love, and not that we weren't in love at year 4, but year 4, it's like the gauntlet was thrown down. It was a challenge now, because now I made a decision. This is what I'm gonna do, and so now I have to live with that decision. Because before you could hem and haw, but once you put it out there, I'm done. This skin is coming off, so I'm trying to take the skin off. So now I have to keep going with that, and I keep going with that, and that's the hard part: living with the decision that you made to let it go.
So what's practical? So how do we help people actually bury the dead? What would you say? Like, if you would have said there's 2 steps, 2 things, 2 main things, 2 or 3, that you would absolutely positively say, okay, this can help you bury the dead and move on or move forward.
Well, you just got to do it, and you have to keep doing it. I mean, that's the only. There's no other way that you can't have tea with it. You can't. You have to draw a line in the sand, basically, and step over it, and that is the only way that you do. And every day you have to continue. You got to make another line, and you got to make another line, and you got to make another line. As long as you keep making the lines in front of the previous line, you are moving forward. Don't go backwards. But if you have to be a visual, okay, I'm drawing a line, and I'm going to bury it. Okay, I'm letting it go. And even if when it comes up in your head, oh, I might have to draw 5 lines in one day. It may not. It may be an hourly. It could be a minute thing. But you have to keep. Okay, I have to. And eventually,
when you say drawing a line, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understand this. You're talking about like drawing a line, like a line in the sand. Like, I'm going to move past this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understand.
I said that, babe.
Okay. Make sure I got it straight in my head.
No, okay. I'm just saying, because I can only speak for myself. Once I decided, or we made the decision to go to counseling, I didn't want to go initially, but I made the decision to just do it. Okay, and the next day. Okay, so I'm waking up in the morning, and it was like the feelings that I had, it was like I was wearing a blanket over myself. I was heavy with I was sad all the time. And it was like not just a sheet, like a whole bunch of covers. I'm not going to just say one blanket, because eventually one layer would come off and then another layer would come off. But I just kept drawing that line, drawing that line, drawing that line. I got to keep moving forward. I have to keep moving forward. There are days I just cried and cried and cried as I'm drawing the line, but I'm not going to go back, you know.
That's good. That's good, because sometimes there's a lot of motivational speakers. There's a lot of people talking, and rightfully so, about having a vision. You know, you got to have a vision. You got to have a goal. You got to have something that you shoot forward for. But sometimes when you are in it, you can't. To have a vision about where you want to go, it's so big, it's so unreal. You just can't really picture it. That it almost becomes like more depressing, because it's like, I don't have a vision. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, but when you draw that line, it may not even be that far away. I just need to get through today. I can't form a vision 3 to 5 years from now. All I know is I got to get through today.
That's right.
And I know people that have gone through addiction, that, well, not say gone through, that are still dealing with addiction, but they're on the other side of it now. They focus on today, living today the best way that they possibly can, and then tomorrow they draw a new line, and then they draw a new line. So if you and your relationship are having difficulties, and you know that in the past, like you wish you would have done things differently, first thing is bury the dead.
Yeah, because you can't change the past.
You can't change it. But what you have absolute power over is what you do right now. Mm-hmm. And that's listening to this podcast, that's reading books, that's, you know, getting involved in a couples therapy, that's getting coaching with Snooks and Lovey. There's a variety of things you can do. That's getting involved with your couples ministry at your church. That's, you know, building an iron tribe around you. There's so many things that you can actually do, but it's focused on the now. Just draw that line and take a step forward. And every day, just take a new step.
That's right. And you know, we say couples coaching, and realistically, there are couples that one will want to, one will not want to. We still encourage the one that wants to still do it, because right. Initially we did together, but I continued with counseling myself. And that made a big difference for the way I was able to respond to Lovey and whatever our situations were. You know, sometimes it just takes you, because you can't control your spouse. You can't control what
as
they
much as we
do.
try.
Yes, we know, Lovey. But I can control, what was it? Control the controllables?
Yes, ma'am.
So, and the only controllable is how I react or what I do. And maybe my spouse could be waiting for me to do something different. And then they say, oh, okay, I see something in this that's maybe helping. You know what I'm saying? So,
absolutely. Yeah, actions speak louder than words. You can talk about how, you know, but I love you. You know, you can say, I'll be different. I'll do this. I'll do that. You know, and the best apology are the ones that, A, never include the word but.
Because anything you say before but does not matter.
Does not matter. And the other type of apology that matters more than anything else is not what you say with your words, but what you do with your actions. Mm-hmm. And so that can just be drawn a line, saying, you know, I'm going to take a step forward, and I'm going to invest in some actions, put some sweat equity into this relationship. Mm-hmm. And then just by default, sometimes the other person will follow.
Yep. And sometimes you may not be able to take a step. You might have to crawl over that line. I'm not playing. I know. You may have to crawl over that line. You slinky through it or whatever. You know, it's not, it's never easy, but it's so worth it.
Absolutely. It's always worth it. So with that said, don't forget that there is a Married into Crazy workshop coming up on July 25th. It is going to be online, and you can go to marriedintocrazy.com/coaching. Scroll a little bit. We're going to fix it up a little bit better to where it's easier to find on the website. But go there. It's free. It's a free workshop where you're going to get a DISC assessment, and it's going to be led by myself, I'm also a DISC certified coach, both as an extreme execution coach, but then also as an intermetric certified coach. And Snooks, with her degree in sociology, dealing with social work.
Yes. What came in the mail today?
your diploma.
My diploma.
But that's gonna. We'll say that for another.
Okay, sorry.
We're gonna say that for the next podcast.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do right now,
Take
though.
all that back.
But what we're gonna do is the thing that we do all the time, and that is kind of get into our I Can. It's the I Can for couples. And here we pick an affirmation that is relationship focused. It's the little things that always drives that relationship forward. We talk about that
Always.
line you're drawing, just that little line. You don't have an absolute huge vision because you're going through it. There's some difficulties. But we're talking about drawing that line in the sand. These affirmations are that line in the sand. And so by grabbing one, you can focus on that I can statement. That's a little drop in the bucket that moves your relationship forward.
Mine says, I can let my partner have some alone time. I cannot.
No?
No sand drawing here.
Okay, I have a meme that's going to be coming out about my alone time. Some social distancing. Mine says, I can encourage my partner to follow their dreams.
To follow my dreams?
Follow your dreams.
Okay, not yours, mine.
I can encourage my partner to follow my dreams. No, it's just to follow their dreams. So I will be encouraging you to follow your dreams,
Okay.
wherever that may be. So once again, we thank each and every one of you for participating and listening to the podcast. We ask that you go ahead and share the podcast with 5 friends. 5 friends. You got 5 friends, I guarantee it. But other couples, share it with them. Let them know about the podcast, because as we continue to grow, it broadens the conversation. And we want to always increase the iron tribe. We want to help sharpen other couples. But more importantly, we're being a little selfish in this. We want you to help sharpen us
That's right.
so we can get better as well. So what we're going to do now is sign off as we usually do. And for the remainder of the year, we will be observing on the audio podcast silence for 8 minutes and 46 seconds to really give an opportunity to reflect on what we can do to make our communities better, whether it's from a standpoint of social justice, whether it's from the standpoint of just loving your neighbor. Reflect for the next 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So until the next time, be blessed.
Bye-bye.